Big stadiums deserve big attention. Whenever you think of AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas, or AT&T Center in San Antonio, your mind might go to the Cowboys and Jerry World, or Tim Duncan and the Spurs. But just as important and just as memorable are the huge, eye-grabbing signs of the building's namesakes that adorn the outer walls. This is Made in America, and we're in Austin, Texas to get a detailed, behind-the-scenes look at how FSG brings these massive signs to life.
We're hitting the road in search of America's most interesting companies to answer one question: why are you proud to be made in America?
DJ, FSG has been the FSG we know today since about 2008. Give us a little context for how we've gotten the company to where we're at today.
So in 2008, FSG was looking to expand out. FSG purchased a company called SignTech because in the construction business, you need signage, you need lights, you need things painted, things along those lines.
So what is the market like for signage, big and small, here in the Austin, Texas area?
It's fabulous.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look around, there's a construction crane on every single corner. There's building going on everywhere. There's expansion, there's growth. Just between the interior signage, the exterior signage, some of your ADA and your wayfinding, and then also there's retrofits of signs that were originally purchased with lamps. And now the entire industry has changed over to LED.
Well, I wanted to pick your brain on that history a little bit. The industry has been around for a long time and has evolved generation after generation. What have been some of the biggest changes that have, changed the industry for the better?
You used to see neon everywhere. Neon was really kind of a big deal that came out. When you could create it, you could bend it, you could make all kinds of different shapes. But most recently, the LED has come in, and LED has significantly changed just the way that we manufacture. You're not replacing ballasts every year, you're not replacing lamps every year. You're putting a sign together, and the lamps stay put for 10 years.
LED, it transformed everything, didn't it? Yeah.
Absolutely did.
Incredible.
And we'll change it a lot more in the future moving forward.
Well, I'd love to dig into some of those different manufacturing processes, so let's go take a look. Let's do it.
First steps of the manufacturing process await us in the commercial room. But before we go there, we should get a better understanding of how these designers set up their projects. We're going to meet up with their art director and senior project manager, Adam, our mentor.
Hey, Adam.
Hey, buddy, how's it going?
Oh, let's do elbows.
Gotcha.
There we go. How are you doing?
It's more appropriate.
Yeah, right. I wanted to learn a little bit more about FSG's design process with you. Once you get, a request from sales and it makes it to the design side of the company, how do you begin to materialize that and turn it into a working design?
So I kind of interpret the requests, see what we're actually working for, what's being asked for, how quickly we need it. Signage is the last thing folks think about. So a lot of times it's like, oh yeah, we need a sign and we need to open in like a month.
Yeah, right.
So yeah,
pedal to the metal. Yeah.
That's a challenge, but it's one that we enjoy taking on.
While you're designing, do you ever have the manufacturing side of it already in mind?
Yeah, you always have to keep in mind what we can actually build, what we can actually provide to our clients. A lot of times you design with a design intent in mind, and then we try and sort of reverse engineer to figure out how we can provide that design intent. We're actually very good at taking a design intent and not deviating at all from it, figuring out a way to build it.
Well, I mean, you've done projects, as large as AT&T Stadium, so I feel like you're able to solve almost any challenge that gets presented your way.
Once the future sign has been designed and approved by the clients, it moves on down the line to the commercial room.
This is our commercial room. Probably 80% of everything that we do in this building comes through this room one way or another.
So why is this step number one?
So really the process has already gone through the estimating, the artwork, the customer's already signed off on the project, they've finished it, so the very next thing is we have to go ahead and we've got to make sure that our files are going to be accurate for the entire shop to produce. For instance, you're taking a look right here, this is a paper pattern that has just come off. It's for one of our installations.
Right.
So where these holes are is where you need to mount it to the wall.
Gotcha.
Or if you're going to mount the letter onto a cabinet, the holes on the cabinet have to match up to the letters here.
Right.
So everything has got to be done scientifically and put together so that when it goes out there to the shop, that they're building the same thing, that when it finishes and comes to the assembly process, it all matches up.
It's got to be precision accurate.
Correct.
Yeah.
And then also many times, you know, Juan is going to be laying some vinyl on top of a large sheet, okay? And then that large sheet is going to go out to the router, and then we're going to go ahead and route it at that point. But we can't apply the vinyl after the faces are already cut. You need to do it in advance. So that's why I'm saying everything, when the job finishes in the office and it comes out here, this is really your start of production that it's going to go through the process. Sure. So on the table here, you're going to go ahead and you're going to lay out your prints.
Yep.
And then Juan's going to run it across, and there's the mask, for instance. So he's going to run it over here, press the roller down, and he's going to push the mask on it so that it could then be applied to the product. So for instance, you've got a print of Marketplace.
Right.
But it's got to be laid down with the mask so that when he actually applies it onto the sign itself, and then he's going to wipe it down and brush all the water out, and then he's going to peel back the mask, that this is what remains.
And that it stays flush.
That it's even, that it's easy, that it's level, that it doesn't have all the bubbles in it, things along those lines.
Once the vinyl is cut and laminated, it's ready for fabrication. Depending on the specs of the project, it will either be manually fabricated or fabricated by machine. Let's explore the iconic steps of both paths. We'll start by taking a look at the machine fabrication process.
So this is where the Risco sheet metal actually gets formed into these letter shapes and gets a little closer to that final product. Tell me a bit about this incredibly unique machine.
So this is an AccuBend machine. What's going to happen is we're going to put the coils of Risco up here, and it's going to come running through our AccuBend machine. There's a program in here where it's going to notch and bend so that by the time it comes out the other side, it's in the shape to where we can use it for the outer sidewalls of the channel lever.
I mean, it's incredible how one industry can produce machinery that needs to exist and operate just for that industry. It's one of my favorite parts of these B2B conversations.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, this is a new machine we bought 1.5 years ago. We had this machine here that was here when I started. It still runs off of floppy disks.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But it still runs.
Just a little dated.
Just a little dated. But now we have this one, which runs, it's faster and more efficient.
So we've got Junior here climping some of this metal. Why is this process so important?
So this is where we take the sidewalls that have just come off the AccuBend machine, and then we have the backs of the channel letter, which have come off the router, and he's bringing these things over and he's putting it together. So the clipping machine is pneumatic, and so it's going to come down and it's going to compress the metals together so that the back and the sidewalls then are held together. And so it's a process he's going to go through. He's going to go all the way around and tighten it up.
Yeah.
And then once it finishes in this area here, it's going to move over for the next step in the process.
One step closer to reality.
One step closer, that's right.
If the specs of the sign are too big, too weighty, or not compatible with the requirements of the AccuBend machine, the sign will get a more manual treatment, a throwback to the golden era of manufacturing. FSG's shop foreman is going to take us through what that project would look like.
What I really love about FSG's processes is that so much of it is still very hands-on and very manual. Tell me a little bit about how that affects your quality in your process.
We do start with a CNC that gives us the general shapes, but some shapes we don't have equipment that can actually manufacture. So we still do the hand shaping. It takes a little practice. Some guys are very good at it, but in the end, it gives you a real sense of accomplishment that you've actually handmade these products.
Sure. And I mean, you've been in the industry 28 years, is that right?
28 years.
So when did you finally reach your expertise level? How long did it take you?
A few years in.
Yeah.
and I can hand manufacture.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I don't like to. And,
Yeah.
and since I'm in charge, I get to pick what I do.
Yeah, exactly right. So tell me a bit about what happens here with the fabrication process.
This is it. They'll take these shapes. It's going to be a very large cabinet when it's done. This is about a quarter of it. We come up with a sidewall depth. As you notice, we still use it just in old school. We pick different sizes of pipes for the different radiuses, and then it takes a very good strong arm,
Yes.
and they hand shape this.
All right.
Ray is very talented at this, very fast.
It's starting to get that curve. I love it. Do you find that this manual process is something that's unique to FSG in this industry?
We pride ourselves on being a custom sign manufacturer. We don't do a whole lot of cookie cutter products, although we do have some national accounts that we repeat the same process over and over. What I pride ourselves in is the custom manufacturing. We rarely have anything that looks the same. Everything is mildly challenging. Keeps the job interesting and fresh. It's always something different. Give it a couple of days and man, we'll have something different.
Exactly. Keeps you on your toes. Could you walk us through the bullet list of all the main key steps of the manufacturing process?
Yes, I can. If you come over here with me to the CNC area,
All right.
80% of our product comes through there, and typically once we've sold the product and it's been designed, this is where we start in the shop.
Perfect. So this is one of the few machines that is actually fully automated in your process. Walk me through the important precision cutting that has to happen here.
This starts in our technical department. They set up a PDF file, which then is sent to Dennis, which runs our commercial room. He operates both of these routers. They're a 6x12 table. The precision of this equipment is within a couple of 100,000. Not saying we finished there, but that's kind of where we want to start. We try to keep both of this piece of equipment running 8 to 10 hours a day.
Wow.
And at that, we hope to stay profitable in the end.
How often do these machines get upgraded or changed as an industry?
Typically, every about 3 to 5 years, there'll be an upgrade, whether it be the vacuum system, the tooling. These particular machines here are a multicam, to where they can run several different types of tooling that the equipment will automatically pick the tool up, to where the operator doesn't have to really have much hands-on once he's set up for running. He typically runs it off a computer and checks it periodically just to make sure the equipment's operating properly.
Love it.
All of our manufacturing process doesn't require CNC. What we have here is a mechanical shear. This is from 1954, and it
Still chugging.
Still operates very nicely. We can shear sheets up to a 1/4 inch on this, 10 foot long. A lot of our process just requires squares, so instead of running it through the CNC machine, we can actually manually shear this stuff right here.
Wow.
Also, we can do a lot of shape forming here. The nice thing about it, it's computer programmable, so we have a lot of product that we repeat manufacturing. So we literally set a file up in here that we can save. So the next time that we have this product come through, it's a matter of pulling the file out, turn the equipment on, and just put the metal to it. Manufactures the same part over and over.
How often do you find yourself repeating some of these shapes? Is it a big part of your business?
We pride ourselves on being a custom manufacturer. We don't typically do an enormous amount of repeat, but there is some national accounts that will do 100 locations a year, something to that nature. So it's nice to be able to repeat over and over and over without reinventing the wheel.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Coming up here, we have a 5-foot sheet roller. We're allowed to roll sheets into either radiuses. We've come across occasions where we have to make like eclipse, stuff to that nature. This is also a programmable piece of equipment.
How often are these machines running every day?
Very regular. It's typically about 3 times a week.
Nice.
We're going to come to one or the other, or potentially both, in some part of our manufacturing process.
Yeah. Yeah, so they've got to be built to take all that strain. And I mean, that machine back there, you said, has been around since the 50s.
Yes, very good. Some of this equipment I've had 15, 20 years.
Yeah.
Some of it's a little newer, but I kind of have to keep up with the industry.
Absolutely. Well, I can't help but point out this giant frame here. What project is this for?
This is for a brewery up at Texas Live, Revolver Brewery.
Nice. Love their beers.
This came off a piece of the equipment we were just discussing, the tube roller. Once we get it set up for the product, we can remanufacture each tube very similar.
What were some of the unique challenges with molding and welding and putting this frame together?
Yeah, it's access, getting access inside the tube so you can pull wiring, getting holes drilled in a proper location on a radius. Sometimes it's a little challenging.
Yeah.
We figured out a process. We've run patterns and stuff to that nature that'll help us stay precise in our manufacturing procedure.
Well, I'm looking forward to the final product. Make sure to send me some pictures.
I would love to.
Yes.
It's going to be beautiful.
So here the product needs to get prepped and sanded before it gets painted. Tell me a bit about this side of the process.
Well, this is the final process before we put the paint on it.
Yeah.
And get ready to send it out the door. This is where we have to have everything cleaned up. Any imperfections in our product, we want to sand out. We want to sand down the blisters. We want to take off the sharp edges. Some of it, it's just a matter of scuffing before the paint process. Some of it requires some in-depth prep. We want our product very clean as it heads out the door. Fortunately, we have gentlemen back here that do an excellent job for us. It doesn't seem 20th century, but there's not always equipment that can give you what a perfectionist can do.
And you're a perfectionist.
I like to try.
There we go. I love it. And then we're off to the painting.
And we're off to the paint.
Let's enter the chamber.
Once the product is prepped to the satisfaction, we move it off in here. This booth here is 20 foot by 12 foot by 16 foot tall. We can get very large products in here if necessary, or we can put a whole bunch of small products in here. We do use an air filtration system so we can restrict most of the dirt flow.
Oh. When you're giving it the spray paint job here, how do you make sure that there isn't any bubbling or isn't any imperfection in the actual sheen of the paint?
I'm not a painter, but we try to keep them happy because that's our final product headed out the door. So it's up to them to make it look good.
Got to have painters for that final aesthetic.
You got
cherry
to have
on top.
painters.
Yeah. Oh yeah. When you're first starting these relationships with clients, how do you begin to foster that relationship from day one?
We don't approach it as a transaction. It's much more of a relational approach that we have. Our preferred client is one that we can do business with over and over and over again.
What's your strategy then for clients that maybe repeat?
I have some clients who, whenever they're growing, whenever they're getting to a size where they need a company on the scale that we are, what they experience is some frustration with having to find a signed company in every single city that they're going into around the country and having to start at the very beginning every single
Build
time.
a new relationship. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And once it gets to a certain amount for them, it's just too much work to try to do that themselves. And so where we can come in is cut through some of those hours of research and design that's already been done for the client and be able to go much quicker for them.
Let's talk a little bit about the materials too. I mean, you've got everything from sheet metal to paints and dyes that you have to work with. Where do you get those materials from, and what's your logistics process for sourcing all of that?
Being a Texas company, we want to have suppliers that are close to home for us. We prefer to stay with American-made products as much as we can. Sometimes we can't. Sometimes we have to use products from overseas. Usually that comes with a longer lead time. We may save on costs on some products, but in our experience, the time zone difference from companies that are overseas makes a big impact on how we're able to service our customers. We prefer to stay local, stay regional, stay national as much as we can with our materials and with our suppliers.
Yeah. We're pretty close to some final projects here. What were some of the unique steps you had to take for these clients and some specific needs that you had to meet to make these a reality?
Really depends on what the customer wants and what they're allowed to have based on the coding for the city municipality, as well as for whatever center they might be going in. The landlord might have some specifics of what is allowable. You know, certain landlords will only allow a certain color of raceway, has to match the wall, those kinds of things.
Yeah.
Because many of these centers, they have restrictions on colors, things along those lines. So in this case, you know, we've manufactured the channel letters on the AccuBend, clamped them together. We've got the trim cap on the face. They're mounted onto a raceway. All the wiring is in the raceway in the back. And then these sets, the crane truck is just going to pick these up and mount them on the wall and install them. Another way, we've got a project here for one of our corporate clients, and you know, these are individually mounted. So instead of being mounted on a raceway like this one is, you've got your individual channel letters, and each one has their own set of wire coming out the back of it, right? We still need to put the faces on, but they're already populated with the LEDs, and they're ready for the faces to be put on. And then these will go out and they'll be installed individually in the field, like on that paper pattern that we saw earlier.
When you've got you know, big individual letters like this, what are some challenges that arise with this process that FSG has found unique solutions to?
In this case, these are fairly straightforward and standard, but we will get into larger channel letters. When we get into channel letters that are 8 feet tall, we have to go into a custom manufacturing area at that point to make sure that it's going to stand up. In the sign business here in Austin, we're frenemies. We get along with one another, but we're also in direct competition. So, but one of the things we'll do, we will help one another out. If somebody needs some material or some paint or something like that, you know, we're going to loan it to them. They're going to loan it to us. We rely on each other for drawings, for building when we get overburdened, and we build signs for other companies as well.
Do you feel like there's a sense of responsibility for helping, you know, to a degree?
There is to a degree, because
I mean, not too much, but you know, enough.
We help one another. We know one another. We know the projects that we're doing.
Yeah.
We know if somebody's really good at one thing or really good at another thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, we do collaborate. You know, we'll have other people do some custom material for us, and we'll do some custom material for them. It really depends on the project.
Yeah.
So, but again, you know, a lot of it, you know, I mean, we're working to take care of Central Texas, the state of Texas, and the area here, and make sure the good signs are up for every one of us.
Absolutely.
So if we can assist someone, if they're in a bind, we want to do that. But at the end of the day, we want the work as well.
All right, DJ, this has been a real pleasure. Thank you so much for your time. And now there's only one thing left to do.
We should get some guns.
Thank goodness we're in an open carry state, but probably not going to be able to take this home. Whenever we see those big signs at AT&T Stadium or at Revolver Brewing, we'll be sure to think of our friends at FSG. The best part about exploring the companies that power America is getting to know their respective communities and really getting to see how manufacturing impacts Main Street USA.